What's up, guys? Yeah, actually, I thought I was doing good on time. I don't know what happened. I thought I was doing great. I was upstairs with Sarah. She's like, it's 8:55. I'm like, yeah, it's all set up downstairs. And it was, because I was filming before this. And then somehow it took me 14 minutes to get down here. So I don't know what the heck I was doing. Yeah, no excuse. That was just not great. How you guys doing? Thursday night. We have a kind of like one of these marathon bottle tastings that we do every once in a while. You know, sometimes, excuse me, one sec. All right. Sometimes these live streams, there's, you know, a blind that I want to do, or there's a theme here and there, or like recently there was all the Whiskey of the Year talk. And then sometimes it's like, I don't really know what we're going to do. Let's just pick some samples, do that kind of thing. And we're in an interesting point right now because we're at the beginning of 2026 and you guys can hear me everything, right? Okay. We're at the beginning of 2026 and so like not that many bottles have really released. A couple things here and there. I wanted to check something actually. What was the last time I was live? It was the Whiskey of the Year stuff. So like I haven't been live in, just about a month at this point. So I haven't tasted any of the 2026 stuff for you guys at all. But yeah, we're in that interesting like doldrums of releases right now as we pick back up into the new year. And so when I was at the store today, I was like, man, what are we gonna do tonight? I'm gonna grab stuff off the shelf. And I've had a couple things come in, but mostly it was like I'm gonna grab stuff off the shelf and we're just gonna rip it and do some comparisons. And you know, I'll take suggestions from you guys as far as like stuff that you see here, stuff you see behind me, stuff that you might know that I have from last year, like anything that we want to get into, we can do that. I can't go too crazy tonight. I've got to get up and be on the road by like probably 8:30 tomorrow. I'm just doing a day trip down to Kentucky and back. I'm gonna go taste through some hazmat Barton stuff, which we've released a lot of for Drums and Drams already. We have some coming out in just a couple of weeks, but you know, some of this hazmat Barton, when you find the shorties, when you find the really, really high proofers, which for me is not a prerequisite normally, but for certain lots of barrels, you do better with higher proofs. It just depends on what it is. But these Bartons, I find that the higher proofs are better, especially like the 12 years that people were sourcing. They just turned 13, but when everybody was buying them, they were 12 years old. And all those 12s to me are very thin, very hot, unless you find the really, really high proofers that are shorties, have a lot of concentration, they've been very condensed in the barrel, then you can get some great stuff. So that's what I'm tasting tomorrow, but I gotta come back afterwards. So I gotta play it cool tonight, gotta play it cool tomorrow, then get back for the weekend, because I'm behind on stuff horribly, not just for the channel, but for real life, real life stuff as well. Yeah, so we're gonna just kind of dive in today. There's no giveaway tonight. And I do need to grab two other things. We can talk about these in a second. We won't start with these. These are two Dark Arts picks that we still have available. So I'll taste these later in the stream. For anybody here that's not in the Patreon, we dropped these picks. When did we drop these guys? Was it Monday? I have no concept of time right now. But these are still available, so there's a link in the description of this live stream if anybody wants to check them out. I put it in there right before I went live, so if you don't see it, it should be like the third thing down. If you don't see it, just refresh your page. If you're on mobile, close the stream, reopen it, whatever, and you should see it in the description there. Don't let me forget to taste these. I'm going to put these off to the side here. But of the things that we have left available, there are a couple of the Armagnac finish, which we can talk about. But then the two main ones that have a little bit more inventory right now, one is an 11-year MGP single barrel, cream soda bomb, and then the other is this Calvados finished rye, which is a really cool whiskey. So we'll talk about those in a little bit. All right. And then as far as anybody wondering about content and stuff, yeah, it's on the way. Tried filming earlier and I couldn't get through anything. It's just because I haven't done it in a while. You got cobwebs and you got to do like a bunch of takes, a couple different sittings, and then you kind of get back in the flow. So I'm trying to shoot the top 20 video, but I'm just like, I'm rusty. So all the whiskeys on the floor around me right now are my top 20 of 2025. They're like sitting here, so as soon as I feel good, I'm gonna sit down and keep going on that video. It's not gonna be till Saturday at this point because I'm gone tomorrow. All right, cheers, guys. Let me know what's in your glass tonight. Hit the like button, please. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Lexington, Sam. Okay, so let's start going through some stuff, and we're gonna we'll generally tonight go in proof order, and there are some things that I'm gonna have to research because I don't even know what they are that I bought. We're gonna start with something interesting though. Cam, do you know if you're having a boy or a girl? Yeah, we're having a baby girl. Baby girl. Nice, Mike. Satch Bros in the glass. I need to say hello to a few people before we get into this. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, man. Chris is in here. Ignore what I said earlier. We miss you, Cam. Oh, God. Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy's drinking good whiskey tonight. That's what's happening. Came back late on purpose. Yeah, that was a good idea. Nice. Over under Cam being late for his child's birth. I don't want to take a bet on that. Dang, Sam, that was quite a comment to start the stream. I'm currently drinking the first D&D Dark Arts pick. Nice, man. Listen, underrated pick. But a lot of people weren't around for it, so they probably haven't tasted it. Having a brown form in early times. Nice. Yeah, I need it. So the new early times has not hit Ohio yet. I haven't seen the square bottle. I looked in the store today. Doesn't look like that's here, but I do need to like try to get my hands on one of those because I don't think it's gonna hit here soon. The shelf was stocked full of the other one. They're probably trying to move it out. So I might have to have somebody's help securing one of these new early times. And I feel like Ohio's been slower on things, I feel like in the last year or two maybe with getting them onto shelves, new products. So if anybody like sees any 2026 thing hit that's in the Patreon, in the Discord, shoot me a message if you're willing to like mule it. The new 1924 today I found out, the batch 3. It's like, that's not on my radar right now, you know? Have you tried Super Freak? It's right here in this sample bottle. We're going to taste it tonight. It's not on the thumbnail, but we're going to taste Super Freak tonight, yeah. No, my wife's... Sarah is 22 weeks tomorrow, so we're right there with you, man. Congrats. Just cider tonight. Terrible upset stomach. Maybe no cider. Maybe lay off the cider. Get some Pepto, you know. I hope you feel better. That'll be an expensive... Yeah, I already knocked over the Michter's 20, but it's in the box. And there's only like an ounce and a half left of it, which makes me very sad, but... Or does it? What was I... Are we leading off? Yeah, we're leading off now. So we're going to start with this, because we have to start low proof. So this is 95.6. Do you guys remember this? Patreon remembers this probably. Anybody else maybe does not. Van Winkle Rye that I bought this on secondary from somebody who's in the live chat right now. Shall not be named. Sam. And this is what I imagine is a tainted bottle. It's got this horrible methane, broccoli, kind of gnarly note to it. I never emailed Buffalo Trace about it. I still am going to do it. I'm not going to ask for money back because I bought it on secondary, but I'm just going to be like, hey, here's the situation. And the reason the bottle's so low is because I've sent samples to people to have them try it. But I actually have a sample here of the same rye from a different bottle. So I'm going to see if both of them taste the same and if it's just that the 2025 is like this or maybe not. I already put this 25 next to a... Adam sent me like maybe a 2022 or 2023. Vastly different. Like clearly something is weird with this one, but I don't know if it's just this bottle or this one too. These were bottled 40 minutes apart. Could be a cork issue, or it could just be the entire run of whiskey is fucked up. Pardon my French. It's not 10 o'clock yet. I can't say bad words. But it is kind of upsetting that one of the epic lines of whiskey, whatever you think of the Van Winkle stuff, could have a product that comes out and actually tastes like the way this bottle tastes. Accidents happen, but this one's pretty wild. So let's just like taste this real quick. This will be my warm-up. And then we'll dive into something that's better than this bottle, which I'm excited to tell you guys about. All right, so we'll coat the glass. Sam, it is 10 o'clock somewhere. By the way, guys, I say this every once in a while, but if you're drinking whiskey, if you're kind of newer to this whole thing, put your glass on its side, get the whiskey as close to the rim as possible, and spin it around, and coat the inside of the glass. It's gonna open up that nose of that whiskey much sooner when the entire glass has whiskey on it instead of just sitting in the bottom. Because at that point you might smell dish detergent, you might be smelling paper towel if you dried it out with a paper towel, whatever. All right, so let's go into this. All right, so I'm gonna smell mine first, which again is got this funky note to it. I find that with air, this bottle is losing that note on the nose. But let's check on the palate, because on the palate, every time I go back to this, I'm like, ooh, what is happening? So it smells, right now, it's got a little bit of like this vegetal green rye note with a lot of Buffalo Trace honey and kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know if it's raisin, but it's like very much in the background, dark fruit. Let's taste it. Cool. It's just not as bad as it was, honestly. We'll taste it again in a second. It's like it hits you and then it does a little 180 in the middle of the palate and you just get this kind of nasty thing. All right. Now let's go to this other one, bottled 40 minutes apart. Nose is a little bit sweeter, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. No twang on that. So, gotta be an issue with the bottling line or the cork or something. All right. So, there you go. For what that's worth, to me, that just shows that, you know, even Van Winkle can have these weird problems hit him. And Kenny said the same thing, and ADHD Whiskey Matt, when I sent it to him, he also thought it was weird. So, all right, there we go. I had to pour the Van Winkle Rye and did not get that note, says Sam. Yeah, it's odd. Very odd. Joe, should I crack? Oh, you got a batch 4, huh? Yeah, crack it open, dude. All right, so speaking of what Joe's talking about, were you the one that bought all those bottles on Sotheby's? Definitely not whatever bottles you're talking about. Some of those auctions have been crazy. All right, guys, so first up, this is mostly for Ohio folks. And let me know if you're from Ohio or surrounding states and if you've heard of this and or tried it. Label on this, leather and oak is what it's called. Let me see if it's better on this camera. Nah, not really. Nah, it's kind of dark. Need to get a little light over there. But this is called leather and oak. You know, it's a little bit of a, you know, the name is kind of typical. Like leather and oak just seems a little bit general as far as naming goes. And this is why, like, looking at this bottle, which is the Nulu bottle shape, that's how I know it. And looking at the label, which is, you know, it's nice, but it's got a name that doesn't really make me wonder what's going on with it. I've passed this multiple times, but I decided to pick this up today with all these other things. And that's what I have in my glass right now. And so I cracked this open when I got home, and I'm blown away. I'm blown away by this whiskey. Junior, shut up. Mine is batch 10. Wow, Cam the craft whiskey guy. So, cracked this open earlier when I got home, and I smelled it. Like, I was fully expecting this to be a craft whiskey that was just heavy pot still notes, and you know the type. It doesn't have an age statement on it, so I'm like, it's probably 2 to 4 years old. Pour it in the glass. Surprisingly rich, darker color for a 95 proofer, which, yeah, 95.64. It's batch 12. And I smelled this thing, and it was just butterscotch candy. And it smells like a dusty bourbon. And I don't mean that it resembles a dusty bourbon. I think if I put this in a blind flight for somebody, and maybe it's just this batch for some reason, if I put this in a blind flight for somebody, I think they would think that this is a dusty bourbon. So it's not complex on the nose necessarily. It's straightforward, but it's butterscotch candy and it's vanilla and it's just really, really sweet caramels. You can smell a little bit of a sweet corn note in here, but not in a youthful way at all. Like, I smell this and I don't think this is youthful whiskey. So let me take a sip. I'm telling you. This beats the crap. Like, I just drank Van Winkle Rye. Even the good Van Winkle Rye, this murders it. This is a $60 bottle that's produced by a super small distillery here in Ohio. It's distilled by them too, which is the crazy part. It's not sourced. $60, and it's sitting on shelves all across Central Ohio. And this is insane whiskey. Is it $1,000 whiskey of the year? No. But it's the only whiskey I've tasted in modern times that legitimately just tastes like a dusty. Batch 12, this is a 4-barrel batch. I don't know how many bottles that is. It is proof down to 95.64. But if you're, like, and I've got some other batches, some friends picked up today that I'm going to be tasting and see if there's consistency between the batches. But what I did is I immediately messaged them. They had actually messaged me last year and it was sitting in my request folder. Got on the phone with the owner within like an hour, and we're going to get together and we're going to start talking about some stuff. And see, you know, if there's a connection there and if they'd be willing to maybe do some single barrels or let me go through some of their stuff straight from the barrel and see what it's like. I'm very excited about this, and I feel like I just struck gold randomly. But I can't imagine it's just this batch that is this good. It's batch 12. It's random. There's like 9 and 10 and 4 sitting around. There's a bunch of them sitting around. Oh, Joe. So Joe got 12. Yeah, crack it, dude, please. Let me know what you think. He told me that this batch is 8.5 to 10 years old. It's like, and he said aged in 53-gallon barrels. They produce it on a still. What does he say? 70-gallon still. This is a tiny still, and it takes them like a week to fill one barrel. And you think of all those things, and you think about the whiskey that you imagine you're going to be tasting, which is earthy and farmy and craft, and this does not taste like that. There's no craft comparison to this, Frankie. There's zero craft comparison to this. The butterscotch candy note on here, it's crazy. No, Rich, they don't even have cask strength right now. So apparently the distillery was previously owned, and the owner now was still a part of it back then, but I think he got maybe full or more control over it as they moved locations. And so these barrels that went into this blend came from the previous iteration of the distillery, but it was produced on the same equipment. So produced on the same equipment to me means like the new stuff should still taste like this. But that's why these barrels, even though they've only been around for 5 or 6 years, these are 8 to 10 years old because it was the previous iteration of the distillery in another location. I just was like on the phone with them and I was like, dude, I can't believe the whiskey tastes like this. How are you producing this? So I don't want to, and it's got like this, it's got that like antique-y wood varnishy kind of note to it that you get on Dusties. I'm flabbergasted. So there you go. $60 bottle, crazy. What's the mash bill? I didn't find out today officially, but there's a video of someone at their facility. It's like some YouTubers, I think. I can't remember their names. And I think they said that a lot of their stuff is 100% corn. They're experimenting with different mashes. And that was a really big part of the phone call today of them starting to do ryes, experimenting with different amounts of basically like chocolate malt kind of stuff. Like how much are they roasting that stuff? So they're experimenting, but I think this might be 100% corn, and that would track with the way it tastes. And it's not to its detriment. Like you don't miss anything. You don't miss rye if there's no rye in that. Yeah. If I had like, an everyday kind of bourbon, that is it. If that could be an everyday, if it was available everywhere, that would be it. That kind of profile is exactly my profile. Could it use a little more oak? In the traditional sense, maybe yes. from like a Heaven Hill oak standpoint where you get a little bitterness, because this has no bitterness. It's really just sweet. So let's move on from that. Let's taste something else here. Where are we gonna go? The Pursuit stuff. 118 proof. 121. Those are higher than I thought. So we might have to go on to this right here. We might have to go to this Makers. And if you guys, again, think of any comparisons or anything like that, just let me know along the way. Super Freak will be up soon. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do this next. Then we'll go over to this Archer Eland stuff, which is also an Ohio thing. I hate to do that to the folks that don't live in Ohio, but, you know, it's what we have around here. Stuff that I could grab off the shelf that I've never heard of before, so. We get a barrel proof pick. Sounds like the value could be off the charts. I agree. Are they proof down or do they offer cask strength? Doesn't smell like craft. Comparisons. Batch 10's lighter. I've had a few different batches. They keep getting better. Does this prove that the name is less important if the juice is great? Sam. Okay. Okay, now I'm scrolling back. Now I see this. Guys, I gotta name the NDP. Somebody help me. Can you start a laser code grading on early times bottle to bottle? If I had them, we could do it. Makers versus Green River Weeded Foolproof. Dude, I don't have them. I'm not on the media list, so I don't have that bottle. Super Freak, I'm out now. This thing is really good. Straight Werther. It is Straight Werther, Joe. All right. So people have been telling me to pick this up. This is the new, new label of the Maker's cask strength. This one is 7 years, 3 months. Barrel entry 110. The batch is 378 barrels. That's huge, especially at this age. In my mind, let's say, I don't know what Maker's evaporative loss typically is. Proof doesn't go up that much. So let's say there's 200 bottles a barrel. That would make this like a 55,000 bottle batch, which is, that's big, Rich and more complex expression that's full flavored with a long approachable finish. Okay. Cool. Let's check this out. The proof on this, 112.8. It's so tough coming off that leather and oak because that's so full flavored. So over here, I get a little bit of a medicinal, like a teeny bit of a medicinal cherry in here. Joe, yeah, dude. Listen, I know I'm glazing it hard, but it's really good, man. Yeah, so there's a very grainy, peppery quality to this Maker's. It's like a little bit, it's floral is kind of what I want to say. It's like floral and grainy. And there are a few things tonight that I'll compare this to. I'll put it next to this Willet. And there was another one as well. Oh, this Cream of Kentucky, which we're going to get into, which I've never heard of this. This is King of Kentucky, or Cream of Kentucky cask strength. Just grabbed this today as well. All maybe have some similar characteristics we can compare. The Maker's, it doesn't really have too much of the yogurt or dairy note that I typically get, so not sure why that's more toned down here. Maybe it's the proof being so high. All right, here we go. That's pretty good. There's some sourness. There's some like sour strawberry candy on the palate. A lot of spice. It's a weeder, but it's cask strength weeder and it's young, so you tend to get floral, you tend to get spice. It's more of just like a generic white pepper kind of spice. There's no real like quality to it besides it just being prickly. Shoot. That's probably my favorite Maker's cask strength I've ever tasted. And I don't know Is this older than it used to be? Is 7 years, 3 months? I know they didn't put on the label previously, but is this older than it was supposedly bottled at when the label was different? Anybody know? How would I even look that up? Makers, cask strength, age. If I look that up, it might just show me the new stuff. According to makers, most batches of cask strength will be between 7 and 8 years old, with proofs ranging from 107 to 114, which is basically like plus or minus 3 or 4 from entry proof. Someone here on Reddit is saying that they got a 7-year, 3-month batch, which is what this is, and that they were blown away. I am tending to agree right now. This is pretty good. I mean, do I wish it tasted older? Yes. There's not a lot of refinement as far as the spice profile and the oak profile, but I think the way it drinks and some of the flavors that you get on the fruity side, which are slightly medicinal on the nose, they get a little brighter on the palate with the spice and they turn sour and less medicinal. I think it's really solid. Yeah. Value-wise, it's a great value. I think, what is that, 40 bucks? It's like 40, 45 bucks. Yeah, that's, for me, I have a renewed interest in this product now. Before, I would have just said, listen, the price is good, but it's not my profile. Now I would say the price is good, and it's, for some reason, this is hitting my palate a little different than it used to, whether it's me or the whiskey. That's a recommend for sure. So I'm going to keep actually that in the glass, and then we're going to go on to these things. What's up, Adam? Cam is wearing colors and it's weird. Yeah, we're turning over a new leaf, dude, or something. So again, as part of my escapade today to the local liquor store, I saw this, and this was sitting up front on like the allocated counter. Not everything there is allocated, but it's what came in that week. This is called Cream of Kentucky Cask Strength, and on the back it says Double Rich. What that means, I don't know. Offers a robust flavor profile that ensures the continuation of our signature Double Rich flavor promise. I don't think that's ever been a signature of this brand that I've known. I think they just, this is the first one. But they didn't say they're introducing it. I think they're just saying it's always been Double Rich, which is fine. I mean, it's just kind of funny. Personalize your drinking experience with a few drops of water or a cube of ice and unlock the full potential of our cask strength bourbon. Bottled by Kentucky Artisan. Must be distilled. Yeah, it's Kentucky straight, so it's distilled in Kentucky. But they don't distill it, and I don't know where it's sourced from. Let's see what this is all about. Anybody try this stuff? I think it was $100. I said, hey, Cream of Kentucky, you guys know what price that is? And they rang it up. They're like, yeah, it's like $100. Like, oh, $100. Non-age stated cask strength. But it said Double Rich, so I bought it. Okay. A proof is 116.4. So slightly higher than the maker's 112.8. The nose is like spicy corn, lavender. I think I'm missing oh, there it is. Jackson Purchase. That's another one we got to taste tonight. Jackson Purchase. Yeah, this just smells really young. It's just corn. On no planet is this a $100 bottle, at least on the nose. All right. That drink's hot as hell. That's spicy. I can't believe that's less than 4 proof points above that maker's mark. Wow. It's like hot. It's like eating a chili pepper or something. it lights you up. Is my chat not working? Or is nobody chatting? Maybe nobody's chatting. Let's see. Oh no, people are chatting. Dang, my chat's getting all weird again. This happened a few weeks ago. All right, I'll just put it up on this screen then. I gotta pop it out here. Let's see. Pop out chat. How do you do it? There. I won't be able to put things on the screen, but that's fine. Pretty sure it's Castle and Key aged Bardstown. Ooh, okay. It is a... You know what? If this was aged at Castle and Key, that color would make a lot of sense. Because it is like pea colored, you know? Yeah, the Maker's is crazy dark compared to this. This is not good. Dude, Castle and Key is where good whiskey goes to die. That aging environment is not good. All the turkey that hit the source market, the Willet that hit the source market, allegedly, this stuff, all the stuff that's sitting at Castle and Key is dying. They need to get whiskey out of that warehouse. Cream of Kentucky used to have sourced Barton, and it was good. So this was Jim Rutledge's project. I'm not sure if he's still affiliated with them or not, if he's still running the ship. And I have kind of a crazy story about all of this. So back in, gosh, I think it was the summer of 2021, a lot of weird connections musically. The former principal percussionist of the Columbus Symphony has a cousin who does all sorts of like commercial music, like jingles, and he's a composer. He's a genius. Jazz, jingles, commercial music, you name it, and this guy can do it. And we had just done a project together a couple years back. We were both on this big concert at our alma mater. We both went to this school. He's much older than me, but he went to school a few decades before I did. And we were on this like celebration concert. So it was Eric Whitacre, if you guys know Eric Whitacre, anybody's music nerd. Sorry, I'll get back to the whiskey in a second. Eric Whitacre was there. He's a choir guy, but if you look up Eric Whitacre, you'll see all the awards he's won. He's very famous. And so it was cool to have him there working with the choir. And then I came back as an alumni, and they commissioned this new percussion solo piece with the band for me to play out front as the soloist. And then this guy, Matt, that I'm talking about, who's the cousin of the principal percussionist of the orchestra, who was my mentor, he wrote a piece also for like jazz orchestra. It was like kind of studio jazz orchestra. It was a super cool piece. And that was like 2019. Well, then fast forward a few years, I get into the whiskey thing. Turns out he also does branding stuff. Like he's a musical genius and he does the branding, and he knows Jim Rutledge and they're buddies. They're like old friends. And so I think all this branding for Cream of Kentucky actually came from Matt, if I'm remembering this correctly. And Matt was like, dude, I'll link you up with Jim. And it ended up that instead of meeting Jim, I met this guy, Steve, who was one of the lawyers who facilitated the Sazerac, the Sazerac acquisition of Buffalo Trace, like back in the early 2000s. So I go down there, and that's when High Plains Rye was coming out. If you guys remember this bottle, High Plains Rye, it was like sourced Kentucky Artisan, Middle West, MGP, all blended together. Crafty tasting, but a really good product in my opinion. And I was there like as they were blending High Plains. They had just bottled it and they still had all their test blends out. So I go to this little office building, go into this office, there's a long table full of whiskey samples. Steve, who we meet, who's working with Jim Rutledge on High Plains and Cream of Kentucky, is like, come here, taste these 5 blends and tell me which one you like the best. And so I picked the one that he's like, that's High Plains Rye. So I picked the best one that they actually bottled as High Plains. Then he pulled out 1940s Four Roses, and we're drinking and we're talking about all this shit. And I was so new to all this, it blew me away. So anyways, that's my whole kind of like Rutledge adjacent story with this stuff. But it's a very, very small world. All right. Back to what we're doing here. This is just, this profile of whiskey is just too young tasting. That's the problem. It might be great whiskey in a couple years or in a different climate, but if this was truly aged at Castle and Key, that would track. That would track. So let's go to Jackson Purchase now. So we're kind of now in this realm of young whiskeys. The Cream of Kentucky has to be young. The Makers is 7 years. Now we got Jackson Purchase, which is 4 years old, I believe. Craig Beam is the master distiller here. It doesn't have the age, but yeah, I do think it's 4 years old. So it's foolproof. It's batch 1. It's 117.8. A lot of influencers are talking this stuff up right now. I think a lot of them got free bottles. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But let's see what this is all about. This had a very weird off note to it when I just poured it out. I'm wondering if it's the glass. Let me pour it here too. It had a strong, almost chemical note to it on the nose, this Jackson Purchase. I don't know if I put this on the thumbnail or not, but... This kind of has it too. I don't think it's the glass. I'll use the new one just in case, but... What are you guys talking about? Who is the cam? Okay, I think my chat caught up finally. You have first place for the indie. No, Rich, I'm not going to say what I've mentioned what I wanted to name the NDP to people so many times, and it's always a split room as far as feedback. So I'm not going to. It's like naming your kid. Same thing. Sarah was like, "Don't talk to people about what we're going to name our daughter." Like, okay, and it's probably the right move. Kentucky Artisan is at Jefferson. No, Jefferson stuff is coming out of Bardstown now. I mean, maybe they're sourcing from multiple places. Source it from 13th Colony. Not looking for spicy corn in my whiskey. Either way, non-aged stated Cream of Kentucky is bad. 100%. I heard it's Willet. Cream of Kentucky have some sourced older stuff. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I'm back to this. Did I? Oh, he stole my line. Oh, yeah, Adam, I did steal your line, didn't I? What do you got? I'm so confused. I'm just going to scroll down on the chat. I don't know what's going on. Is Don here? He's going to be mad at me. Why is Don going to be mad at me? So, Adam, I don't know for the Jackson Purchase if that is their entry proof or if that's just what they're calling foolproof. Like, Green River does that. If I could change one thing about Green River, it would be, number one, keep your Kelvin barrels. Stop putting those on the source market. Release those yourselves. Number two would be stop calling your whiskey foolproof if it's not barrel entry. It's not a legal thing, technically, but industry-wide, that's what we know it as. You have two names for the NEP. You guys are funny. Okay. All right. So this, to me, same kind of young corn thing that the Cream of Kentucky has. The Cream of Kentucky has much more vanilla on it in this side-by-side, so it's even brighter. The Jackson Purchase has more of like a cinnamon backbone. So I think most Kentucky whiskey that we all kind of think about, we all tend to think that caramel is the primary backbone note to those whiskeys. The Cream of Kentucky is just like youthful corn and some vanilla. This is like cinnamon backbone. There's a tea element here. There's a black tea element to this. But it's very spicy. So you don't fully get into the tea note because I think tea is like a soft, it's a soft, inviting kind of smell. You don't usually smell 117.8 proof black tea. So the spice fights you out of actually enjoying that note on the nose. Yeah, and then this chemical note that I was getting is kind of like I'm acclimating to it. Well, the Makers kills both of these, like by a lot. And it's less than half the price of this, and maybe 2/3 the price of this. Okay. I mean, it's fine, you know. I think this is the kind of whiskey where they released it maybe to recoup cash, maybe as a progress report for people like who have heard about the brand. Who knows why they released it at this age? I hate to say this, if it's your local distillery, if it's like a very small local operation, you go in, you support, you buy a bottle of this. You probably don't buy another bottle of it till it gets older. But I don't know the size of Jackson Purchase operation. I just think like you gotta wait 3 or 4 more years before you even put this on shelves. It's just not good enough, you know? And price point on this, let's see. Jackson Purchase full proof price. It's 60. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just not ready. So the last thing I want to compare, because I've tasted the Jackson Purchase before. I didn't taste the Cream of Kentucky, because I just got it today. Man, the Cream of Kentucky's gnarly. Let's put it next to my king last year of youthful bourbons that don't need to be on the market. Is this Willet? Let's see how this thing stacks up. The Jackson Purchase is not as rough as I remember it being the first time I tasted it, but I'm also coming off of the Cream of Kentucky, so I don't feel like I can fully trust myself. Wow. Dude, there is a chemical note in this. It's like a volatile note, it feels like, coming out of the Jackson Purchase. I'll say the Willet is way spicier than the Jackson Purchase, but it doesn't have that off note, so I like the Willet's nose better. And I probably like it better than the Cream of Kentucky, but I think we're playing in the same realm. It's just a higher proof, but these are all kind of a similar-ish profile between them, probably because they're all so young. The Willet's way better. And my reaction to this Willet was a very bad reaction. So I think my reactions here are getting tainted by the fact that I'm continuing to go back to them and acclimate my palate, and they're not feeling as rough from sip to sip. I know how I thought about this Willet, and it's so much better than these. So this Cream of Kentucky has no business with the price tag that it has. Leave that on the shelf. This brand, like meeting the people behind it, meeting Steve at least, I didn't meet Jim, great guy. The pricing on this doesn't make any sense. It's like positioned as a premium product in the market, and some of their previous stuff was, even then it was overpriced for what was on the sourced market at the time. The 13 whatever year Barton they were getting was way more expensive than the competition. Now you get this. I just don't understand this brand. Like, I feel like this brand is killing itself, you know? And then the Jackson Purchase, the volatile kind of note that I get on the nose makes me wonder about what their distillation is like. But you've got Craig Beam there, so, you know, maybe it's just this batch or something. Maybe it's not coming from the distillation. I don't know. Give it 4 more years, and then the Willet, for me, is still a pass. But my God, if you're going to buy any of these, $60 for the Willet doesn't sound like the worst thing now. So that was kind of a disappointing run, except the Makers. The Makers is the shocker. Would you describe the cream of Kentucky as capriccioso? I don't know, Slad. It's a good word, though. Let's look up the real definition of that. Capriccioso is an Italian musical term directing a performer to play in a free, lively, whimsical, or capricious style. I mean, what did you ask if I would define that way? The cream of Kentucky? No, not really. Cam, did you buy all the batch 12s at Arena? I bought all the ones that were on the shelf. Maybe they have more in the back, but yeah, the shelf has been eliminated. I never clear a shelf, ever. I had to clear it today because I'm not keeping them all for myself. I'm going to give them away here on the channel. I was going to do it tonight, but I'm like, I'll wait. Dude, the leather and oak, all I got to do is go back and smell that, and it's killing everything we've tasted so far. I did just cool whip whimsical. You guys are killing me in the chat. Next. What are we doing next? Pursuit. Let's do these. Yeah, let's do these. Cool. Actually, before we do these, let's talk about these guys. So, for anybody in the chat that's not in the Patreon, I said earlier in the stream I was gonna, do a little quick tasting of these. Just a quick plug because we have a couple bottles left. I think there's like 2 cases or less of the 11-year bourbon, and the link is in the description of this video. This is 150. Code CAM. Use that at checkout. Save 5%. It should automatically apply on the link. It's in the description. If it doesn't, go ahead and put that in at checkout. And then we have this 6.5-year, almost 7-year Green River Rye. It's a Green River 95.5, which I didn't even know existed on the market. I know Bardstown has it. I didn't know Green River was making it. But Dark Arts sourced some, put it in a Calvados barrel, and this easily won the blind against the other Calvados finished ryes that Macaulay had at Dark Arts. That's 119.28 proof. Again, almost 7 years old. It's $100. That sounds like a lot. There's a little tax. I'll call it the Dark Arts tax because their stuff is a few dollars over what might normally be on the market. But also Macaulay sources better finishing barrels than pretty much anybody on the market, and also better MGP and just distillate in general. I don't know how he's getting his hands on stuff that's so good, but that's just what he does. That's the dark art, I guess. As I drip this all over my keyboard. So let's taste the 11-year real quick, and if you guys are interested, grab a bottle of that. You guys are funny. Adam, the leather and oak is super interesting. Yeah. Okay. What do we got here? Okay. On the nose, the Dark Arts 11. I actually get a little more dark fruit right now than I normally do on this, especially because I'm coming off of these like super young whiskeys. But primary note for me on this is that kind of cream soda thing you get on 36% rye MGP. If you guys like those sweet cream soda, vanilla, I think I said Smarties candy on this one. Those are like very prominent up front on the nose. It's super sweet. You get a lot of spice here. You get a lot of that high rye 36 MGP spice. But there's a lot of this kind of candied, enticing sweetness up front. It's effervescent on the palate. And it's so obvious right now after all these other whiskeys. It's effervescent cream soda. It's orange. It's like spritzy orange. And actually, again, like a little more dark fruit than I'm used to from tasting this. Just in the background. Oh, man. So if you're a fan of 36 MGP, fan of like the Dark Arts stuff that they source especially, this one is 113.8 proof. It drinks over 113. I'd say it drinks closer to 117, 118, because it has that really long, tingly finish, that effervescent, lifted, tingly finish with a lot of spice. And then we'll just go on to this one real quick. Again, 119.28 proof, Calvados finished dry. Calvados is basically apple brandy, but typically when you're sourcing Calvados barrels, you can source 25-year Calvados barrels, you know, like older stuff that's going to give you a really deep, rich flavor. And so this one on the nose is just like, so I get a bunch of apple pie notes on this and like red candy apple. And then I gave it to Sarah to smell only. She's 22 weeks pregnant or whatever. I gave her this to smell and she was like, maple syrup. I'm like, you're right. So I'm calling this like a maple syrup and caramel covered apple pie on the nose. And it's thick. Like if you don't like finished whiskey, you might not like this. It is a thick apple pie syrup. It's like apple pie filling all across your tongue. The spice comes in mid-palate and takes you into the finish, but front palate is all Calvados. So there's kind of a development where you get finished up front, then the trajectory actually goes up and lifts instead of sinking down and getting too heavy. And that lift at the end with the rye spice is what gives this such a long finish, long sustain on the palate. That's a good idea, Rich. So yeah, if you guys are going to buy stuff from the Junkies drop tomorrow, you could add this on as well. I mean, if you order this right now and order Junkies tomorrow, they're probably automatically going to combine anyways. Joe says the problem with the leather and oak is I could drink. Yeah, I could drink it all too. Joe, it's so good, man. It's not complicated, but or complex. It's just really good. All right, let me get some water. I haven't had any water on this stream yet. Okay, I've got 2 glasses. I need to get a couple more glasses here. Oh man, I've got a lot of whiskey to taste still. All right, I gotta be careful. I gotta drink Hazmat Barton tomorrow and wake up earlier than I normally do. We're gonna go to these. We're gonna go to these. Any similarity to Jimmy Red? No, not at all. 0 similarities to Jimmy Red. Funny enough, we actually talked about, because the owner of Leather and Oak has a background in agriculture. And so a lot of the grains they're using right now are stuff that they are growing. They source locally. If it's stuff they're not growing, they're still sourcing it locally. But he has fields planted of like different things. And so we actually had a conversation today about Jimmy Red. So it's a small operation, but he knows his stuff. Even if he's not like communicating in the same whiskey nerd language that we might communicate in, he knows his stuff. And that's what was pretty cool about it. And I'm like, who runs the still? And he's like, I do. I was like, cool, man. And their place is like a block from my parents' house. Did you drink your Z-Biotics? I don't do Z-Biotics. If you need help tasting those. Sam, I don't know if I'm, like, I told him I was coming alone because I felt like I was being annoying asking Chase to, I felt like I was being annoying when I was like, dude, can I come down and taste them? Because he was like, I'm going to ship you samples. I'm like, but what if I came down, you know? Are you like, how much notice do you need, Sam? because I'm not sure. I think we're starting at noon. I'm sure Dark Arts learned a ton working at Wilderness Trail. Wilderness by far the best 4 to 5 year bourbon I've ever tasted. Listen, I've had some really good Wilderness Trail stuff. Like some stuff that I don't think was necessarily made public, just like random little samples that I had a Patreon member like 4 or 5 years ago that was really good friends with Macaulay, and he shipped me up all these crazy samples. Stuff that, again, I've never seen on the market. Proof points I've never seen, specificity about like fermentation times, and oh, this is the 100th distillation run. Like very specific samples, and I tasted them and they were all so good. Okay, cool, Sam. I'll let you know. Yeah, glad to see you back, dude. Thought you vanished on me. Yeah, I'm around. I still need to reach out to everybody who I owe samples to from the Backbone picks. I like did the drawing and then I just have completely floundered. But I've got like 4 plates in the air right now that are spinning, and they're all about to fall. And I can't keep up with any one of those plates. So I'm doing my best. Here's what we have here, guys. This is a new brand. This was, I think, last week's acquisition. I was walking through my liquor store. I saw this on the shelf, and I'm like, what is that? This bottle, and it said straight rye whiskey. And there were 3 of them on the shelf, and they all said rye at different proof points. I'm like, who the hell, as a new brand, is coming out with 3 rye whiskeys at 3 different proof points? And with a bottle that looks like this, you know, and it's not finished. It's not like the True Story stuff where you have the colored bottle, the white or the black, that are then, you know, they're completely opaque. You can't see through them. And then the whiskey inside's finished, which, you know, it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. I see this is a little more sleek. It's got this kind of cool, like powder-coated thing on it. But it's called Archer Eland. So this is, I'm not going to it's called Solstice, Aurora, Cashmere, and Suede. That doesn't mean anything to you guys, I know. It doesn't really mean anything to me either. I'm going to call this 104 proof, 110 proof, and then both of these are 126. These are just different blends of 126 proof. These are 4-year ryes, and then the 126ers are 7-year ryes. All of this is Middle West Spirits distillate, but the woman who is Middle West's master blender, this is like her own individual side project she's doing, but utilizing Middle West's rye whiskey. I think I'm allowed to, like, that all is clear to me. Like, that was clear to me before I talked to Middle West about it, because on the back it says distilled and aged in Columbus, Ohio. It ain't going to be anybody else but Middle West, especially when you see the connection between who the master distiller of Middle West is, or master blender, versus who the master blender here is. It's the same person. Adam knows her. Wendy's one of the coolest. Yeah, Wendy, that's her name, right? See, I don't know Wendy. And when I read the article about Archer Eland, I didn't know that was the same person. I didn't know she was affiliated with Middle West. I thought they were just sourcing from Middle West as an NDP. But it's kind of like all in-house to some degree. A Paul cracked Leather and Oak Batch 9 sounds like it also has the butterscotch. Dude, that's awesome. Isn't the new honey finished dark our source from Wilderness? I think this, yeah, because isn't it called sweet and sour? And then my thought was that was sweet and sour mash. And if he's putting sweet mash in there, that's got to be from Wilderness. Okay, so let's start with this first one, which is 104 proof. 4-year rye called Solstice. Price tags on these, they're like pretty affordable, you know? Archer Eland price tag, SRP. So this first one is 65. Where's the other one? So it's just Aurora is the one that I need to find. Aurora, okay, so it's 60, 65. So you're paying $5 more for 6 proof points. I don't know if they're the same blend or not, but they're both 4 years. So 60, 65, and then 85, 85. All right, so on the nose, 104 proof. It's very light honey sweet. So it's a honey rye. And as far as the rye influence here, there's absolutely zero herbal on the nose, zero dill. The only real giveaway that this is a rye is a like cooling menthol sensation on the nose. It's kind of lifted. It's peppery. It's again kind of a white pepper rye. It's not heavy cinnamon or like, again, there's no herbal. And there's like a white grape note to this. All right, let's taste it. It's really pleasant. It's a great introduction to rye whiskey. Wow. Is it worth, running out and $65? I don't know. I think as a 4-year rye, this should be more like a $45 product, in my opinion. But it's still pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna look. I have a card here with her tasting notes on these, but I'm gonna look at it at the end. I just want to kind of make a few first impressions. A sweet mash could also come from Hard Truth, but I don't know if they're selling. Yeah, I don't know either. Jeremy says, I still think that Frank August are from Wilderness Trail. I don't have enough experience with them to think about that profile. But I can see it. Because I think a lot of these single barrel offerings from interesting NDPs, like Frank August, like... Actually, Hard Truth had one. Hard Truth sourced some bourbon from Wilderness Trail. The other one was... that I thought was Wilderness, and I don't know if I'm positive about it, was... what was it called? They sent me a bottle, like a free bottle. And I loved it. Oh, what was it? Had kind of a weird name. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? They have a rye that they sourced from New Riff. Anybody in the Patreon remember this? They have a rye they sourced from New Riff that has a red label, and then the blue label bourbon. I like the low proof one better, not the cask strength. And I thought it was Wilderness Trail. Dang, I can't remember the name of this company. I feel bad. And I had asked them to do a barrel pick, and they were like, yeah, talk to us in like 6 to 9 months and we'll figure it out. And I don't think we've ever reconnected after that, but okay, whatever. All right, let's go to the 110 proof Aurora 4-year. All right. Did you try the new Riff Sherry? No, Jeremy, haven't tried that yet. Those should be like right there. They should be right behind me here. I think I see them. Let's do that in a second. Was it Boundary Oak? No, it wasn't Silver Springs. Why is your 11-year Dark Arts on B? Okay, the reason there's 2 different SKUs, that's the reason the link in the description here is the one I'm asking people to order from. It's all kind of the same. But I split the barrel with Bourbon Outfitter, and I released my half of the barrel first. It's all the same, but I need to sell out my half of the barrel. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. Like, I'm trying to sell the ones that are allocated to me. So that's why it's on there with 2 different SKUs. It's going to go public tomorrow, at which point you can't really track where the sales came from. But like anything that sells tonight would be from this live stream. So I would ask that you bought the one that was linked in the description here. Which Drums and Drams should be first in the description of that one. It's second in the description. This one says Drums and Drams and Bourbon Outfitter. The other one says Bourbon Outfitter X Drums and Drams. So the one where my name appears first. High and Wicked. High and Wicked. That's the brand. High and Wicked. I have always thought that might have been Wilderness Trail, because it was called a sweet mash bourbon. All right, so this next Archer Eland has more fruit presence to it. So the 6 extra proof points, even though it's the same age, I'm getting like very like peachy. Yeah, it's more peachy, more. It still has the white grape note. There's less abrasive spice and abrasive like youth. These don't, I mean, they taste younger. They don't taste too young, but you get less of that youth on this slightly higher proof, which is strange because sometimes adding water will take the youth away. I think Solstice, though, even with the most water, has more youth than this. It could have been New Riff. It absolutely could have been New Riff because the rye was New Riff. But it has that sweet mash flavor to it, though. So regardless, I'm not claiming to know exactly where it comes from. Is it Dark Arts High Rye MGP? Yes. Dark Arts High Rye is MGP. All right, on the palate now, 110 proof. Very good. All of these are lighter bodied profiles though. They're not heavy oak. They're not really rich fruit. It's in the brighter, upper 50% of the flavor spectrum the entire way through. This one sits on the palate with a little bit of a syrupy heavy quality, almost like a slightly finished whiskey, but it's not finished. So it has that kind of heaviness. I like that a lot. I don't think the first one's bad. I think between the two, I would pay the $5 upcharge probably and get this for $65. Now let's go on to the 126 proof stuff, which doesn't say barrel proof. So I think they've just been proofed to 126, and we just have two competing blends with the same age statement. And then we're going to move on to maybe some New Riff, maybe some Pursuit, something else. I think that might be why I was iffy on thinking it was New Riff, because the rye, clearly they let them put New Riff on the label, but the bourbon didn't say that. So that might have been what went through my head. All right, let's go to Cashmere. Still, I mean, all of these are a lighter color. Cashmere on the nose. It's starting to get floral. So as the proof is increasing, it's getting now floral. A little bit more like a rye now. Crawls up your nose a little. I actually prefer the nose on the lower two than this. This is just a little too hot for me. I think maybe it's just because it's a 7-year rye. Maybe there's not enough barrel impact. I'm getting a lot of of the base spirit coming through on the nose. It's a very good palate though. There's a little bit of smokiness, like a little bit of char coming through. This is, the fruit is now moving from like the white grape notes when they're watered down to like a golden raisin in this. And it's got a great spice profile. And now let's compare it to the last one, which is Suede. Now Suede, this might be my favorite nose of the bunch. The nose on this, it has like a little leather tobacco thing. It's got that kind of funk that you find on certain single barrels. Out of every 20 barrels that come through in a lot, one barrel has this funk note. Suede has that funk note to it. It's cool. Palate is actually more relaxed than the other one, the other 126 proof for Cashmere. So each of those have I like the palate on this, but I like the profile and nose on this. But overall, my choice might be this 110 proofer. None of these are bad. None of them are world enders, amazing top of the year kind of whiskeys. They're all very solid. And my only criticism is that everything looks the same. The designs are not identifiably that different on the front. The descriptions on the back are all the same. So I think my criticism on these would just be from the branding perspective. I think it's a cool idea for the bottle design, but I think you got to differentiate more with these. And you know, the pricing, like we're in a $25 pricing range for 4 different expressions here. 2 of them being the same. So I don't know about that. But it's a cool project. All right, so there you go. I'll just put these over here. Oh, let me look at what her notes were. So Solstice, that's the one that I said had the white grape. This says lemon peel, orange oil, marmalade, rye spice, and floral sweetness. Okay. Aurora, which is like basically my favorite. This is the one that I said got more peachy. It says fudge brownies. I don't get that. Peppercorn, caramel, cinnamon, apple. Okay, I could see apple. Subtle nutty finish. I'm not with it on that one. Cashmere says apricots, ginger, vanilla custard. That was the third one. That makes sense to me. The ginger note for sure makes sense. And then suede, they do say leather and tobacco. So, all right. About, 50% kind of alignment between the, my palate and I guess Wendy's palate, if Wendy's the one that wrote the notes. Which is pretty good, honestly. As far as like 2 people agreeing on things, generally 50% is like a decent, in this industry, people just talking, like you get a group of people together and you sit around whiskey and talk about it. I think if you can agree 50% of the time, that's great, Okay. They kind of sound like they're candles. Yeah. It's got a little bit of that vibe. I can see that. These are just, I think, just in Ohio right now, Frankie. I think it's just kind of like a test run on them. I know James Pepper has a gold label decanter. Yeah, let's taste that right now. I didn't realize how much whiskey there was to taste tonight. I don't know if we're going to get to everything. Holy crap. I talked to the High and Wicked guy at KBF 24, and he mentioned an NDA a ton of times, so I assume it was New Riff 2. Yeah, but they put New Riff on the rye bottles, which is crazy. Amy, what's up? Let's get into this. This is the James Pepper Gold Label decanter, and the release was fall 2025, 25 barrel blend between 6.3 and 7.6 years old. But they're not counting. Man, my keyboard is just covered in whiskey. I'm surprised it even still works. Color on this is very good for the proof. This is 104 proof. Drink more water. Almost knocked Calumet 18 over. I should not have these bottles sitting here. And this is a concrete floor, so that's a tall bottle. It's going to go bye-bye. All right, let's go to this pepper. Oh, okay. Let's go to this pepper decanter. That smells good. Yeah, it's like... Oh, man. To me, there are kind of 2 layers to this. The first thing that I notice right away is a very well-integrated layer of fruit notes. It's so well-integrated that it's kind of hard to pick it apart. I get like a plum note, I get like a Luxardo cherry, and then I get something that's a little bit like a blend of peach and pear juice. Kind of all together. So you get some brighter fruits, and then you get this richness from the cherry and the plum, and it's all just mingled together. But it's very well done. And then underneath that, I get like a little bit of a coffee cake note, which is something that I get on other certain batches of the normal pepper decanters. And I love that note. So I get like coffee cake. I get some chocolate in here. And almost, I don't know, like maybe just like a lot of brown sugar or something like that. Okay. Oh. It's a grower, not a shower. Front of the palate, I'm like, oh, what's it gonna be? Because there's not a lot of spice here. It's only 104. And then as it starts to develop, it's just full-bodied on the palate. Wow, this is good whiskey, man. It's mocha on the palate. It's mocha taking the forefront, taking the lead, and the fruit notes kind of taking a back seat. Weirdly, it weirdly reminds me of like Pappy. Like it's got like a younger Pappy profile to it. Dude, that's pretty good. It's kind of like a whiskey nerd pour. I think you need to sit with this. And what do I want to say about it? Like, the fun starts halfway through the sip. That's what I meant when I said it's a grower, not a shower. You got to give it a second on the palate. If you just like take a sip and go, ah, shit, that's not for me, you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to like wait 3 seconds for this to take off. It's good. The pepper stuff is really, really growing on me. Okay, more glasses. How are you going to do the recap for 25 Whiskey of the Year? So, the recap video, I've got my notes here. So what I did is I took all the notes that I wrote during the stream itself. I'll put that up here. The notes that I wrote during the stream, I typically wrote them, you know, in whatever order I drank these whiskeys. I would type notes, but then when I got to the end and I was doing all the side-by-sides to narrow things down, I think I stopped typing notes at that point. So there are some things in these notes that will say like, right, like Jack 12. It says, maybe I wrote very balanced, maybe around number 15. But then when I started doing comparisons, Jack 12 moved up to like, it's number 8. It was my number 8 of the year, which is weird. But it went from what I would have said was 15 to 8. So when I read these notes in the video, I'm going to make sure to say like, these aren't my final notes. These are my first impressions before I started doing comparisons. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to start the video by giving my criteria, and I want to make this video like quicker and punchier than I normally would make something like this, because it is so late in the game. People are going to be like, I don't want to watch 25 minutes of you talking 2 months after the fact. But I'm going to start with the criteria, and then I'm going to give like the briefest explanation I can of how the blind tastings worked. Then I'm going to go through 20 to 11 quickly. I'm going to go one by one. I'm going to pull it up from the floor here. Boom, we're going to talk Pappy. I'm going to pull this one up. I've got them laid out in an order down there. Then I'm going to pull up Bombergers. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about them, put them out on the table. And then my 1 through 10 are over here. And I'm going to give those a little bit more explanation as far as like dive further into their flavor profiles. Whereas 20 to 11, I'm just going to say like, you know, oh, on Pappy, I said beautiful, rich, sweet oak nose, soft peaches, honey, sort of grassy finish, gonna finish low. And then I might say one more thing from my experience with Pappy 23, and then we're gonna move on. So it'll be like hopefully 30 seconds on that bottle. Don't tell Amy that. Don't tell Amy that, Chris. I actually, Amy, I think you sent me a blind flight like 3 years ago. And I think you put a Makers in there. I swear this happened. And I was saying, like, at the time, I was always saying that Makers was giving me strawberry shortcake notes. I think that's what it was. And then this came up in the blind. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. I'm just getting strawberry shortcake. And then when I revealed it, I'm like, oh my God, of course. Like, I said all the notes that I always say about Makers, and I didn't say it was Makers. I think that was something you sent me. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It was years ago. What's next? Pursuit, probably, huh? Let's do those. May have been like a training flight for Matt Madness or something. Okay. So this was last week purchase, these two bottles. Saw them on the shelf at a local store. I've passed these over a million times. I've never really liked a Pursuit product that I've tried, except for some of their single barrels that they've done. I had a really low proof rye that was great, and then they had a Tennessee Distilling Company Cherry Cola Monster a couple years ago that was great. All their own stuff, like the double oaks. I despise their double oaks. It's just not my profile for some reason. The rye double oaked got this like fakey astringency, like with the fruit notes that I wasn't a fan of, and then the bourbon double oak that I've had tasted like sugar cookies, but to the point that it almost felt like it was flavored. I know it's not flavored, but it just had that feeling on the palate. So I never liked those. So let's check these out now. So what I have first is the triple mash bourbon, 118 proof. It's Bardstown with the Heaven Hill mash. So Bardstown Bourbon Company, 78-10-12. Tennessee Distilling Partner, 80-10-10, which is good stuff. And then Finger Lakes Distilling, which I don't have any familiarity with, 70 corn, 20 wheat, 10 malted barley. So you have two rye mash bourbons and a wheat mash bourbon. A high wheat. Decently high wheat. Okay, so the bourbon just smells young. You know? Like, what's the price on this? I feel like I'm saying that everything smells young. No, but the James Pepper, no. The James Pepper's like 6 and 7 years old. And it smells way older than this. Pursuit, OHLQ. I guess I need to just search it on here. That's the Pursuit United Bourbon, but this is triple mash. Pursuit triple. Pursuit triple mash. Ohio website sucks. Okay, Pursuit United Barrel Proof Rye, which is this. These are $80. Yeah, this being $80, no. This has like a similar profile to some of the early, like the Jackson Purchase kind of level of stuff that I tasted earlier. It's very spicy. It's very brown sugar, but with a lot of cinnamon, like so much cinnamon that it feels young. All right. And almost like really young oak. Like the staves weren't seasoned that long or air dried that long or whatever. it's hot, and it's got a little teeny bit of craftiness to it, maybe from the Finger Lakes Distilling. That's a pass for me. It's an easy pass. And the sweetness lingers. It's all spice and youth up front, and then the finish almost has, it's like a 180. You get all this spice and youth, then in the finish it just turns into this very caramely, desserty, almost forced sweetness in the finish. It's not, so I don't love that. On to the triple mash rye, which comes from, oh, it's all Kentucky, huh? So Bardstown 95.5, which is a great mash bill. They make a great 95.5. And then a Sagamore 95.5. Oh, not all Kentucky, sorry. Just not MGP. And then a Sagamore 52.43.5, which is one of my favorite mash bills out there. This smells much better. Finger Lake stuff has that youthy, weeder, Sharpie note. I agree with that. This does have a Sharpie note. The rye does not. The rye is like, I can smell. Well, I don't want to say I can smell the Sagamore because I don't know. It's great. This has like spiced orange notes in it and still a little bit too, like it crawls up my nose a little too much. There's almost a blueberry thing in here, which is cool. Okay. Much better. This is pretty dry. The rye is like spicy and grippy and dry. Better than the bourbon for sure. There's a heaviness to this, which is nice. I felt like I got one weird sour fruit note that I didn't like on the palate. Yeah, there's one kind of skunky, like overripe, almost rotten apple note on the front of the palate that I'm not understanding. It goes away, and then the whiskey gets better. I don't know what it is about the Pursuit stuff. I don't know if it's the blending or if it's, I don't know. I mean, they're combining a lot of different stuff in these. And maybe that's problematic. I don't know that I like this rye enough to buy it at 80. But of any of their products I've had, I think this is probably the one that I would take the chance on as the triple mash rye. As long as you like rye, you know, intensely rye whiskeys, because it does have quite a bit of rye influence to it. Okay, we're gonna move on from those. What do you guys think about the Pursuit stuff? Frankie, good lord. If you guys are just now jumping in, please hit that like button. And remember, we have a couple barrel picks available, a few cases left of each. 11-year MGP 36 rye Dark Arts, cream soda bomb, and then we have this Calvados finished 6.5-year, almost 7-year rye from Dark Arts. 95.5 Green River rye, spent time in a Calvados barrel. Apple pie, caramel, maple syrup for that, and then the other one is cream soda, vanilla, Smarties candy, very effervescent, some orange notes in there too. Little dark fruit in the background. Curb stomping the Pursuit. I'm not trying to. It's just, and I've never met the Pursuit guys, so I don't have a connection to them, or I've never visited, so I don't have an understanding of like what they're doing and what they're going for. But my experience now is that the only thing that I definitively liked were some of those single barrels. The blends and the finishing are just not my thing. Let me re-smell the leather and oak. I mean, come on. Okay. It just makes me happy. But let's do Whiskey Gypsy next. Yeah, proof-wise, this makes sense. Whiskey Gypsy Batch 3, The Declaration. This is a $200 bottle. I got a clean glass here. $200 bottle. With a cork that feels like it's going to break. It's like the same corks that were in the old Stubborns that would shred against the bottles when you would put it back in. This has that same like, sharp lip on the bottle. Let's see if this shreds too. Pull it back out and see. Not surprisingly, it's hanging in there, but okay. Whose brand is this? Is this Eric Church? Whiskey Gypsy, Eric Church. Is that who it is? Yes. So you're definitely paying the celebrity tax on this. The blend of Whiskey Gypsy, which is batch 3 specifically, which is 115.7 proof. Don't know that it says barrel proof on it. I don't think it does. It's 60% rye from MGP. 60% rye from MGP, 8 to 12 years old, 95.5, finished in apple brandy barrels. 30% of it is Canadian whiskey, 100% corn, 20 to 25 years old. Solid. I don't usually like that stuff, but solid as far as the stats. 10% American single malt, which comes from Virginia. And then that's 100% malted barley, and it's 8 years old. So you've got apple brandy finished rye, high age Canadian whiskey that was finished in New American Oak. I'm just seeing that on here. And then 10% American single malt from Virginia. Crazy, crazy little concoction. Okay. Ooh. Slad said the old stub Mary Dowling bottle's real issue is that the inside edge of the bottle was sharp. That's how this is, though. That's the same issue. The corks here aren't as bad, I guess. So we're finally up to Cam's bottom shelf price point. Oh, God. Not true. What was the SRP on the Pepper Gold? I don't know. I'm not sure what I paid for that. Maybe like $80 or something. Someone else is going to know. I got it for SRP, though. So whatever SRP is would be the price I got it for. Joe, yeah. Crack batch 10, dude. Which batch did, Wait, which batch did Paul get, Joe? What was it? Did he get 9? Nine, okay. Yeah, crack 10 and try it, dude. Mike Caduce, thank you, dude. College fund for your kid. Pretty nice gesture on my part. Thanks, Mike. Only, I don't know, 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 more $5 super chats, and we can pay for it. Let's go, dude. Come on. I'm going to spend it all on whiskey before the kid's even 3 years old. All right. On the nose of this Whiskey Gypsy Batch 3, which I've heard people say this stuff is great. People that I trust, too, which makes me sad because on the nose, very, very fruity. Very fruity. I just smelled the Calvados finished rye from Dark Arts to get a comparison because that's Calvados. This is apple brandy finished rye in 60% of the blend. And you do get that. You do get like an apple pie note in here, but you get this rotten apple note. I said that about something earlier. And this definitely has a skunky, sulfur kind of hairspray note on the nose. It almost feels like a fault you would get in a wine. Sometimes you can get like a sulfur sort of note on wine. You can definitely get the sulfur note on like scotches that go into sherry casks, and the sherry casks aren't properly taken care of, and you can get that gunpowdery, sulfury sort of thing. This isn't that strong on the sulfur. This is mostly a hairspray / skunky fruit thing with a tinge of sulfur in the background. It's heavy though on the nose. Ooh. It tastes up front like dryer sheet, floral dryer sheet, skunky fruit. And you could kind of chalk this up to a stylistic thing, but I don't think I'm willing to do that. I just think this is a bad blend. We're done with it. Money grab, $200, do not buy. Bad whiskey for me. Jason C liked ampersand last night. I think I like ampersand for what it is. Did he have the Optimus? It's not Optimus. I found out it's Optimus or Opomus, however you want to say it. It's a weird word. I have a sample of it over there still. Oh, I gotta get the new Riff stuff from Jeremy. Oh yeah, so here I have the ampersand here. Let me find the new Riff. Sherry finished rye. Yeah, here we go. Swagstar, thank you for the super chat. Shout out Mike and the college fund. Let's go. Super chat for the college. Hear me or not? Let me hold my hand out. Okay. I can see that. Okay. Now I can hear the background music. Something was wacky. Okay. Sorry. That's what I was trying to deal with the audio. That was very strange. More glasses. I've got some more over here. I'm just trying to save myself 8 glasses to take down tomorrow for the tasting that I'm doing. Okay. When I'm going to take all these glasses upstairs afterwards, I have this like restaurant tray that I bring the glasses down on now, like the divided thing that you would use for dishwashers. And because I'm leaving tomorrow morning, I'm not going to have time to do all the dishes, so I'm just going to take those up there, rinse them out, and then leave. I don't know, what 30 glasses up on the counter. Sarah's gonna murder me. Pepper decanter is usually 65. Yeah, but the gold label is different. It's a little more. Have you tried Old Forester 1924 Batch 2 yet? Just got a bottle the other day. Yeah, so Batch 2 was like the 2025 batch. Very good. Much better than Batch 1. Apparently Batch 3 just dropped. So I don't know. Jeremy, I'm not buying anything from this stream. If this was around you, Jeremy, you should buy it. The whole leather and oak thing is crazy. But yeah, so far for me, I think the biggest standout... Oh, the pepper decanter. 100%. I love that. And the makers... I'm not like chasing it down, but it's a good product. So the makers and the pepper decanter, and then leather and oak is easily the star of the show tonight, even still. And I don't think, some of the Archer Eland stuff, maybe one or two of those. Nothing else. Not at all. Joe says profile on leather and oak batch 10 is very similar. Nose is brighter, a little less rich than 12, but has a bit of fruitiness, something fresh. Can't put my finger on it. Okay. Lito, what's up, dude? Get your shit together. You know I need to, man. Michael Phelps says put it in the Trump account. Yeah, I forgot the Trump accounts. I forgot about those. I got to get one for the baby. I guess I do. You know what? I need to actually look into that instead of just saying I'm going to do it. Because if there's a better plan, like if that excludes you from doing something else, which I don't know if it does, I haven't looked into it, then I need to explore all the options. Batch 3 I just got of Old Forester 1924, and it tastes like pure bubble gum. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for you. For me, bubble gum I associate 90% of the time with youthful whiskey. Sometimes it's different. Some of the Barton single barrels that are older will have these bubblegum notes, but they're paired with other fruit and oak, so it works out for me. Dude, Jeb loves this makers. That's crazy. You ever had an Octomore? Oh yeah, I've got a bunch of Octomore samples in here, and then I've got either the 14s or the 15s over there. I can't remember which set. I like Octomore. Do I ever really reach for Octomore? No. If I'm going to reach for something that's got peat or funk to it, which is such a general thing to say because there's so many whiskeys that fit in this category, I'm just reaching for a Springbank. Like you can see behind me here, I've got my shelf of Hazelburns and Springbanks. That's a dusty Johnny Walker Black. By the way, one of the best values in Scotch, get a Johnny Walker Black from the early 80s. It's going to blow your mind. You can get it for like $150, usually secondary or something. I think I paid like $100 and I got a couple of them. And then Springbank 21s are fine. I actually tend to like Springbanks a little younger, unless it's this sample. I got a sample of a 25-year private cask of Springbank that has all this dusty craziness to it. That is one of my favorite scotches I've ever tried. So I think certain one-off bottlings of Old Springbank are great, but generally I would rather have a 10 to 15 year Springbank, not even the 18. Oh, you got a 15.3. I think that might be the one I have over there. And if so, I really like it. And I've taken it to a lot of like get-togethers and tastings, and people crush that bottle. But yeah, I just don't reach for the Octomores. There's just so much else to reach for. Hey, Lito, since you're here, bro, I know I got to get to these new riffs, but we're just hanging. Lito, so I was moving, right? I was moving all these things around, and I just got all the samples out. I almost have all the samples put up on this shelf. Actually, here. Do this. There we go. So you can see all the samples here, but there's one sample bottle that sticks out because it's an Angel's Envy bottle refilled with something. And this is from Lido. And I don't know if the label on this is right, but this is some crazy shit you gave me in Texas. It says Scotch Malt Whiskey Society R2 17 maybe. swaggering something, 61.4%. And I remember this being bonkers. When I was moving the samples around, I smelled again, and I'm like, what? Like, I remember this being crazy, but we were drinking a lot that night. What is this, dude? You got to remind me. Look at the color. Is this a rum? Glendronach single barrel 28 year. That sounds like everything I want. All right, let's pour out some new Riff Sherry finish. So I got 2024 and 2025. Lito said, I want to say that's rum from Guyana. Okay. Dude, I remember tasting it that night, and you were like, no, just take the rest of this. And it was a pretty crazy pour. Wow, look at the color on these sherry finishes. I mean, it makes sense, I guess. Nice. I saw Brandon from Whiskey Weather dumping the barrel of New Riff malted rye that he picked. And the color on it was unlike anything I think I've ever seen at 6 years old. And I think it was probably a Kelvin barrel. But it looked like a 12 to 13 year short, 40 bottle shorty that is cooked down, hazmat. It had that dirty color to it. It was crazy. Wow, this smells phenomenal. Oh, you have a sample to Oh, dude. Tempted me, man. Freaking tempting. Yeah, let me talk to Chase in the morning when I'm driving down. Oh, he dropped that barrel today, Whiskey Weather? Wow. We got to go do one of those picks, apparently. Everybody that's gone there has said that the options are awesome. So this 2024 is what I've got first. 111.5, and then the other one's 111.9. So basically the same. Oh, Sagamore switched from Kelvin to ISC. Man, I'll be interested to see what that does. All right, 2024 Sherry Finish New Riff. A lot of cola on here. Raspberry and pomegranate on here, probably from the sherry. Maybe also if this was like a Kelvin base barrel, which I could actually believe that based on the color. But raspberry, pomegranate, cola, little sourness, like a little like sherry sourness to it. It's got a little more like pizzazz to it on the palate than I would have expected. The nose just feels so fruity and rich. Palate a little more intense, a little more spice than I thought. Damn good. 2024, damn good. Let's go to the 2025. Very similar, I think I get maybe less fruit on the 25 and more cola. But it's in the same vein. And there's actually like more of a Coca-Cola thing as opposed to like a cherry cola. A little dirtier. Jeremy, these are good, man. Jeez. New Riff, it just continues to get better and better. Pink Dan finally caught up. Going 2x speed to 1x speed is jarring. I can only imagine. On a live stream one night, or maybe on the Kenny Mills video, you mentioned a smooth ambler cask strength that was good. Was that the 8 year? It was the 8 year. Not a perfect whiskey, but my idea of the 8 year was that it showed, it's like a proof of concept kind of thing. It showed probably what like the middle of the road or like the average profile would be for their 8 years, assuming they put a mix of barrels in that blend. So my thought is that like they probably get a lot better from there and they probably get a lot worse from there. And on the better side, I feel like you could probably find some amazing single barrels. Jeremy, so do you agree? Like, 'cause sometimes people send things that they don't like so much and they want you to try them. So I don't know what your thought is on these, but dude, I really think New Riff knows how to do this sherry finish because it's not over finished. That's the crazy part. It almost, to me, feels like they pulled them early or they reblended it at the end with unfinished to try to like dial it in because it just feels so dialed in with the finish. Really good. Thanks for sending those, dude. Think we just have 2 more things to go. I've got Super Freak though. Should I do Super Freak or should I do the other 2 I have are Old Forester. I haven't had one of these in many years. I sold my last one. It was good, but back in the day when I was in crippling credit card debt from buying too much whiskey, I made the choice to sell it. So I bought this one today, and they changed the label a little bit because it used to have a line on it as if you could do barrel picks of it. Now it's just, there's no like private label line on it. Jeremy reminds me of the Cavalon in many ways. Okay. I could kind of see that maybe on one of the like more balanced Cavalons, not the stupid, like the 15-year crazy sherry finish thing that I got is just, it just tastes like fruit syrup. It doesn't really taste like whiskey. But I think some of the other ones that I've had that are much more balanced, that I could see how that would remind you of that. All right, let's do Super Freak, fine. Oh, Vino Barrique. Whoever said Vino Barrique, yes. And the person that introduced me to that is Lido, we were talking earlier about that rum. He said something about it, didn't he? Oh, he confirmed it's a 12-year Eldorado. Okay. So Lido has a palate that is into all sorts of shit. From like the craziest, weirdest stuff to just normal crazy to just stuff that's not weird at all. But when we were at Still Austin together, which is when we met, Lido's been in the Patreon like and sent me samples probably as early as like April 2021. It's kind of funny, man. It's crazy to think about that. But we finally met at Still Austin last year, and some of the crazy barrels that they pulled out that had really weird off-profile notes, because Christian knows that I like to go through weird stuff there, and so he pulled some really weird stuff. It was fun to geek out with Lido about that. But the reason I'm saying that is because Lido sent me my first Vino Barrique a couple years ago. Blew my mind. What's up, Brett? What warehouse is the single barrel Old Forester? It's warehouse H, floor 7, 129.6. So we're gonna do Super Freak next. Then we can do the Old Forester, and then I've got this. I've got this Corbin Cash. It's 12 years old. I saw a random I think Instagram post. I think this is a very small run. It's a rye whiskey, 12 years old, 128 proof. Aged in a combination of American and French oak barrels. It spent 6 years in new charred American oak and then transferred to French oak for another 6 years. Yeah. I don't know if it says barrel strength. I think it's probably proofed to 128. Let's see. No, I think it. If I had to make an assumption, I'd say it's proof down. So those two, and then the Super Freak are the last of what I have to taste. Unless anybody can think of anything else, but I'm starting to feel it a little bit, and I've got to get some sleep tonight. Jason tried that last night. Which one? The Corbin Cash? I didn't catch what was last night? Wednesday. I don't know what I was doing last night. I've been catching a little bit of Jason's streams here and there. Yeah, the Corbin Cash, okay. Oloroso's my favorite Cavalon, so jammy. Yeah. It's crazy. The casks they must be putting their stuff in must still just have some sherry in them. I mean, it's wild how they get those profiles. All right, we're on to Super Freak now. So Super Freak, anybody that doesn't know what this is from Preservation Distillery. I think it's like $350-ish SRP. And some people are doing, apparently they're blends. 11 plus year blends. I've seen some that are like 11 and 18, 11, 15, 18, whatever. I'm sure there's a bunch of different stuff, different options. I've seen private blends, essentially barrel picks, but with blending. People have gotten those. The wax color is different on a lot of these. Pink, purple. There's been like some bright blues and greens, I think. So this says it's a purple wax, 116.8. I mean, it's kind of nutty on the nose. It's heavy chocolate sauce, and oak with some nuttiness. And the nutty aspect of the whiskey is kind of youthful, but then everything underneath it, from the chocolate notes to like what reminds me of a beam leather or an old Heaven Hill leather to these heavy oak kind of qualities, everything else feels like an old whiskey except for the nuttiness makes it feel very young. So it's kind of this battle between them on the nose. It's almost a dusty vibe to it. Concentration off the charts on the nose. It's so good. It's so good. I hate how good this is. I don't understand it either. A little grassy in the finish. I swear there's beam in this. Little grassy finish that tastes like the finish of a beam 9 to 11 year 9 to 11 year 78 13.9 mash beam is what it tastes like in the finish. Like a bad barrel. But the rest of the finish, just like I said earlier about the nuttiness, the rest of the finish, besides being a little grassy on the top, is just crazy like antique oak. It does, like, this doesn't make any sense, this product. But I wish you would just take out whatever the flaw is in this, which might be the 11 year, which might be the majority of the blend. Maybe they threw some crazy old stuff in there with it. If you could just take that part out of it, this whiskey's amazing. As it stands right now, if you're not sensitive to like too much nuttiness or that little grassy tinge in the finish, it might be worth its price. You know? And I think the more you, like I say, the more you sip it, you probably get used to that. I still get a little grassy, still a little nutty. But the chocolate oak vibe in this is amazing. Tony. The 18 year allegedly is a short barrel. Yeah, but what does that even mean in the context of like not really knowing what the other proportions are? Like, does that mean the short barrel's 5% or 10% or 15% of the blend? Who knows? That one is 11, 11, and 18. Oh, I have that one as well. Okay. I'm wondering if you're going to get the dusty note on this I get with my local. I'm getting it right now. Are we sure it's purple wax? Could Adam be photoshopping the color? That's funny. I'm curious if anybody picked up any dark arts tonight. Let's see if I can. Oh, it looks like maybe a couple. Thank you, guys. Where do I need to go here? I'll just do it on my computer. What's up, Marty? Cheers, dude. Yeah, super freak. Don't really understand. It feels like they ruined amazing whiskey with a little bit of bad whiskey. Oh, damn it. Okay, last two. Marty said, cheers. Marty said, Cam, I'm still a sucker for an Old Forester barrel proof rye. I got to find out right now, Marty. I haven't had one in years. Let's see. The Old Forester is a higher proof, but the Corbin Cash is so much older. Let's do the Old Forester first. That's a heck of a barrel pop, or a cork pop. What does that sound? I think I can hear my cat in her litter box, because that's exactly where it would be, above, like almost right above my head. I think I can hear her in the litter box, which is a good reminder that I need to go scoop that thing. Jeez. There we go. The Old Forester barrel proof bourbons are just hot for me now. Well, the thing is, Marty, if they're, how many years have they done those? 5 or 6 years? 7, maybe. If they're still, I swear she's in her litter box right now. If I can hear that down here, that, I mean, you can't hear much, but my old house was built in like the 20s or 30s or something, 40s, I don't know, or in that era. And anytime anybody would walk, on the first floor, it was just horribly squeaky. So I was trying to get away from that with this house, but I guess you can still hear some stuff. That's okay, though. Cam, you sure you're getting up early tomorrow? Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good, Rich. But yeah, if they're still doing freaking 5 and 6 year bourbon in the Old Forester barrel picks, then yes, they are definitely still tasting young. Like, why a brand, especially like Old Forester, who has serious volume, would not be working to maybe elevate the age 1 to 2 years on their single barrel products? God forbid 3, 1 to 3 years on that stuff. Like New Riff has been slowly doing it. They started at 4. They kept 4-year picks for longer than any of us wanted them to. But I think they were probably behind the scenes being very smart about building inventory. And then eventually they bumped it, and now they have 6-year picks. And who knows what we're going to see in the future. Maybe we see 8 years, because now they have 8-year batch products. The fact that Old Forester is not doing that and is so behind the times, number one, just shows me that they're super corporate. They're not probably concerned with like really what the customer wants. They're just concerned about what they're trying to do with their own inventory. But like, my God, I mean, Old Forester has great older whiskey. Just use some of it. Like, let us take some of it. I guess that's, you know what, Slad, you're right, dude. They can't even make birthday bourbon good. That is very true. That's very true. And who, like, is that coming from, on high, like upper management, or is that coming from whoever this new master taster is, this girl, I don't know anything about her. It's like, is it her choice? Is it upper management's choice? All right. So, let me get a little water. Old Forester first. Again, 129.6 proof Warehouse H, floor 7. Worst part about being a cat owner, cleaning the litter box. Best part, you can leave them alone for days. Yes. Yes and yes. So on the Old Forester barrel proof rye on the nose, the only thing I can smell is banana runts and bubblegum. That's it. Banana runts and bubblegum. Maybe with like a little green apple Jolly Rancher tinge to let you know that there's something even possibly rye about this. But on the nose, well, I guess there is like a generic barrel spice note on the nose. Lets you know it's a rye, but you're going to get that from the bourbon too because the bourbon's so hot. All right, palate. Ugh. This is worse than the last one I had. The last one I had some sweetness and richness and like body to it, not just spice. This is the rye version of an Old Forester single barrel strength bourbon, which is hot fire. This is the rye equivalent. 87% of the whiskey I've tasted tonight is not good. Okay, some chocolate now in the finish. Second sip, chocolate finish. Okay, fine. So what I've been saying about this Corbin Cash, last thing I'm going to taste tonight, maybe, I might need to cleanse my palate after the way that smelled. Rye whiskey, 12 years, 128 proof, 6 years American oak, another 6 years in French. What I've been saying about this Corbin Cash bottle, because I spent $250, I think. Whoa. All right, mail closed unexpectedly. There we go. Corbin Cash. Let's look it up. Thank you for shopping. $245. I said, it's my last go, my last try to enjoy Corbin Cash. Because I don't know that I've had anything I've really liked from them. The profile has just been not, and this doesn't smell good either. It hasn't been, it's been not what I want. Before I ever tasted a Corbin Cash product, we had started doing barrel picks. And I messaged Corbin Cash and I was like, everybody's, talking about their products. Before I tasted it, I reached out and I'm like, can we set up a barrel pick? And they're like, yes. And then we didn't do any follow-up until after my second River Roots pick. Jesse, who's in the Patreon, we were hanging out that night and Jesse had brought a bottle of, was it the first pick? I don't know which one it was. First or second River Roots pick. Jesse had brought a bottle of like the standard Merced rye, not the barrel proof, not a single barrel. And we tasted it in the hotel room that night. Like we were all together doing a bottle share. And we tasted it and I'm like, this is terrible. And so after that, I never DM'd Corbin Cash again. Then I got some single barrels and I tasted them. And I liked them more, but I didn't like them enough to do a pick. And it was like, I got to find one I like to let me know that it's worth flying to California to do a barrel pick, This is not it. It's just not my profile. It's super sour on the nose. It's got this weird, like, potato, like soil, not soil. Soil and dirt are different. This is more of a dirt note. It's like dirt, potato, kind of vegetal, and then this sour fruit skin bitter note on the nose. Concentration is good. It's very intense. It's like puckeringly sour. But puckeringly sour with sugar sprinkled on top, because there's this sweet thing that just tastes like table sugar on my palate. Ah, man. Nope, that's not it either. All right. Well, I'm going to sell that. That's not going to go. That's not going to get a video. That's not going to get Whiskey of the Year, you know, treatment, contention, whatever. Nope. The 15% was the dark arts. Wait, what, Sam? 15% was the dark arts. What did I say? Something about most of the whiskey hasn't been good tonight? No, the other stuff is leather and oak, maker's cask, James Pepper decanter. Yeah. I got a Corbin Cash single barrel. I like it, but I don't love it. Initially, I had the wildest fresh strawberry note, almost like a slightly underripe berry. I guess maybe that kind of idea is how I could interpret this. Yours is probably more of that, but I guess I could see it here. But it's so sour and astringent. All right. I think that's going to do it, guys. Any last minute thoughts or tastings or comparisons? What is that? Okay. I guess the last thing, let's see if it sold out. It did not sell out yet. Glass. The last thing, just to twist anybody's arm into this. So I told you guys we have the Dark Arts 11-year bourbon for sale. That barrel was split with Bourbon Outfitter, but if you buy it, I was just asking you guys to buy the one at the link that I posted in the description of this video, because that's like my portion of the barrel. Then there's the Calvados Rye. We have 39 of those left now. But I still have my portion, 2 bottles left of this. I thought this would already be gone by now, so I didn't talk about it earlier. But you should know about this. This is a 12-year, 36% rye MGP bourbon. It's finished in Armagnac. It's a fat barrel. It's like 280 bottles or something of this. So I took 100, Mashup took 100, Bourbon Outfitter took the other 80 or whatever it was. This stuff is incredible. And I've kind of underhyped it a little bit on purpose. And I've been waiting on people to get their bottles and tell me what they think. In my opinion, this is like maybe top 3 Dark Arts products I've had. One of the best Armagnac finishes I've ever had, besides Chateau de la Baude Batch 1 and some of the Magna stuff. This is a different take on Armagnac finishing. It's not like heavy fruit notes. It smells and tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and chai latte and blackberries and grapes, and this also has some of that cream soda from the other barrel as well, more in the background. But I figured I'd mention it to you guys. There's 2 left for us. Bourbon Outfitter has like 70 more of these bottles that they're going to drop publicly. So even if we sell out tonight or tomorrow, whenever, I'm not worried about selling these out. There's 2 left. But even if you don't buy it from the 2 in the link, go to Bourbon Outfitter, and I would highly encourage anybody to pick this bottle up. Like, no joke. All 3 of us on this pick loved this so much. And the whole pick, we were trying all these different things, and we just kept going back and drinking this. Because it's like, I just want to drink the Armagnac finish. This is Barrel Daddy. So it doesn't have our names on the side. It has Barrel Daddy on the side, and that's because that's what we call Ryan Alves from Bourbon Outfitter. We call him Barrel Daddy. Okay. I'm going to go to bed. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out. Hit the like button. Check out the Patreon, $5 or $10 a month. We have some barrel picks coming up. I'm going to drive to Kentucky in the morning. Drink some Hazmat Barton. I'm going to bring a change of clothes and a contact case just in case I need to stay in a hotel. And that's going to do it, guys. Working on new content right freaking now, I promise you. And we're almost back up and running with the channel. So cheers, have a good night, and talk soon.